Hey y'all, I'm sitting here on the front deck of my bass boat this morning, kind of suffering a little bit. Poor pitiful me, I know. Doing some contemplating, some thinking about my fishing again. I know it's boring for most of y'all. Well, y'all ain't watching it, so boring, but there's a few people kind of like what I'm doing, and I felt like talking about it this morning, so I'll be right back. I got to get some stuff out and suffering. Be right back. This is so pitiful, but I'm going to try to make an attempt at this because I like thought processes. I like to hear the pros over the years explain what they're thinking, what makes them do what they're doing. I'm suffering. I got gout, I think. A few weeks ago I started having some pain. I think it's gout because it happened both knees, both wrists. This happened to me a few years ago. And of course, being a hard-headed hillbilly, hickbilly, I just don't seek help. And it's been livable, mostly, especially fishing, because the boat's actually way more comfortable walking on concrete at work. But I was getting out of the boat after a tournament Tuesday. And when I was getting out of the boat, I knew I bent my knee too far. I crunched my knee. I didn't have to. I just had to reach out further than my right leg. I didn't. And by the time I got home, I knew I was in trouble. My left knee's not happy. It's better, but then I'm limping. My back hurts. Poor pitiful me. I'm just trying to put this in context. Why I'm setting this boat on a beautiful mid-fall morning and the last one for a while. It's going to be in the 70s again today. The front's coming through. Wind's blowing. And I'm going to sit here and meditate and contemplate and work on some tackle today. I did yesterday. I don't have much to work on. I got some piddling things. I'm going to sharpen hooks. I'm going to sit here in this bass boat. Getting in on the bass boat's hard enough. Just trying to get you guys on a personal level the struggles I'm going through just fishing these little bitty tournaments. That being said, I fished a derby Tuesday again. Another one of these little Angry Pirate tournaments here at Lake of the Ozarks. Being Tuesday tournaments, they're full of hot rods and sticks. Because the guides show up. Now this one's a little bit different. It was 17 boats, which is a pretty good tournament. But there's a big get-together, a big professional fishing thing at Lake of the Ozarks. Happens every fall. And it was golf day Tuesday, and a lot of guys like Dion Lawson Hibben, I guess, was playing golf. Still, the guys that finished second Tuesday is Casey Scanlon and James Watson. That's the kind of guys I'm fishing against in a little bitty derby. So, but if you're gonna get beat, you want to get beat by the best. And if you do good, you want to beat the best. I don't want to fish against a bunch of guys that are worse than I am. There's got to be somebody out there that's worse than I am. The tournament Tuesday, I did improve. I fished Monday, and it was horrible. I caught one keeper bass in 5-6 hours of fishing, and that fish bit exactly the way it should have and where it should have. It ate a zero spook on a lay-down log in the back of a pocket, lunched it, and that's the only bite I got like that. Catching shorts, catching some, we can keep 12-inch Kentucky bass. That's a little bitty bass. I don't go fish for them specifically, and I ought to, I guess. I ought to have them 5 every time. Several guys did. About 17 boats in this tournament, and I think 9 of them zeroed. But there was, I think 4 limits weighed in, but limits weighing 6 pounds, 7 pounds, and a little bitty Kentucky. One limit weighed 5-something. I just don't want to do that, and it kind of hurt me a little bit. So me, I finished 7th place, which is no big deal, but I did have big bass. I had a 5-pounder. But the thing that happened important Tuesday was I kind of got into them for a little bit. Either they're coming my way or I'm figuring them out. My confidence level is definitely, all these videos I've done here lately, I'm spun out trying to figure it out. I got over some of that. Not a lot, but I need to keep that going. I blew it. I think I had a 16-pound potential day there, and I blew it. It didn't happen. That's fall fishing. However, what the fish were doing, and when you talk to other folks, it's a very important thing. Sometimes you can fix it, sometimes you can't. The fish were hitting baits with their mouth closed. They do that usually in middle October for a while. I don't know why. They just try to kill a bait. And generally, you get enough of them doing that, you can figure them out or get through it and make it happen. I didn't have enough. Had one little spot. They used to doing that. They do it to a spook, and that's why extra sharp hooks are important. I needed more fish to do that. But a lot of guys talking about popping baits out of the water, thumping it, nothing there. I don't know why. It's a month later than usual, but hit that mouth closed if something's happened for years. Generally, I can follow up with a swim jig or something, but today I didn't have enough of it to work. I was catching fish with baits glued here and glued here because they're just hitting it. Luckily, sharp hooks. I caught my big fish on a jerk bait, and he was welded to it. But it's just part of fishing. I'm not confused by that part, though. A lot of guys didn't know what was going on. They know a buzzbait is getting blown out of the water and nothing happened because they're hitting with their mouth closed. They're in the mood to kill it, but not hungry enough to eat it. Now, this front going through is going to change. The next tournament is coming Tuesday. It's going to be rainy. Before then, cold front. I think the front's going to be through Tuesday, so it's going to be post-cold front again. Still not horrible cold fronts. Water's still warm enough. But I don't think I'm going to fish before then. I think this knee's going to need rested. I got work starting now. I got work all weekend. 4 days on concrete in this knee. I may not be able to fish Tuesday, but I'm still planning on it, still thinking about it. And I have one more the week after that, and I'll be done with these Tuesday tournaments so I can fish. But it's been an experience. I've been learning. I've been gaining on it. I got some money for that big bass. It's kind of nice. But the fact of just coming in not being confused at the end of the day. Matter of fact, I fished. I wish I explained to y'all 35 years ago where my life was. It was all. This was it. Sitting behind the wheel of a bass boat getting on that trolling motor. Had a hard time getting that back. But Tuesday I fished well. Not great, obviously. I finished 7th place with 2 keepers. But I fished good. I fished to the last minute, expecting to get bit. Wasn't like I was spun out. The fish are still extremely tough. I think 12 pounds won, 10 pounds was second, 10 pounds was third. And it fell off to 7 in my 6-pound string or whatever. Yeah, I had one of those little Kentuckys. And I had them bite me. I didn't even try to catch them. Those little 12-inchers, I had one on a buzzbait once, and instead of trying to land it, I got in trouble or get out of a tree. I didn't care. But I was also having these 3-pounders bust me. It was one of, I tell you how bad a day it was, which it wasn't bad. I feel good about it. The last keeper that I had on was on a crankbait. Had him stuck here in the bottom of the jaw, and then it come off and rolled. I had him hung underneath the pectoral fins, which is fine. He'd fought out. He's a 2.5 pounder, not a big bass. It wouldn't have helped me in the tournament, except having another keeper is always good. I put that fish in the net, and he fell through the bottom of the net. I got a hole in the net that big. He fell through the bottom, left the crankbait in the net, and he took off. And I laughed just like that. Some days they ain't supposed to happen. Why do I have a hole in the net I never used? That net hadn't got no use on it. I'm looking at it right now. It's like a new net. It just come untied. It's just funny how when things don't go right, but things still went right enough. I brought in a 5-pound bass to the weigh-in, so that's the thumbnail pick. Whatever. So I'm gonna work on some tackle, sharpen some hooks, just trying to stay in this zone. I'm not too bad of pain right now. I said my back hurts because my knee hurts, because my butt hurts. Hopefully Tuesday, this is an old farts tournament, 55 and older. Hopefully there'll be some guys show up again that I can beat. I feel like I kind of got back into it a little bit. The confidence thing of putting that fish in the boat and being around some fish that were biting, which ain't happened. I had a couple fish on that would have weighed, 2.5, 3.5 pounds. Had a real nice fish. I rolled him over on a spook, didn't get him. Sharp hooks. I can't believe I didn't get that fish. Had another fish on crankbait. These fish were this deep. They had to have sunscreen in their back. Some of them fish were so shallow. and fish hit a crankbait. I rolled him into a big rip-rap rock, and he pinned up against it and come off. I mean, he's sitting there, I kept pressure on him, just a few seconds. It just, some days, that's where you got to get more bites. I said it before, and guys kind of made fun of me. Catch more fish, find more fish. You have to have the bites to make up for the ones you blow. Mostly it was on the fish, it wasn't on me. My hooks are deadly sharp, and I'm sharpening hooks again. I constantly sharpen hooks. I probably caught 18 to 20 good white bass the other day, which is not a good thing, because sometimes oh my gosh, you don't know what you got. But they're in there with the bass. I caught a channel cat. I caught a big drum again, had one on it. I finally yanked him off by a 6-7 pound drum. That's good. The fish are eating. The shad are there. Now, I didn't see a lot of shad, but I did snag one. Being around the shad's been the tricky thing. So I'm hoping that'll continue in the next week. The water temperature is 58 to 62 degrees. It'll be pretty close to that still. It's going to be chilly, but it'll be in the upper 50s. I feel really, if it wasn't for the pain thing, I feel like I'm going to win a tournament. I may still win a tournament. I'm going to have to use my butt seat. I don't ever sit down in a tournament. They have to. My plan is, unless I get worse, and the 4 days on concrete at work may wipe me out. This may not happen. So it's just me rambling, just talking. I'm going to switch some stuff around. I do not understand something else. This is so weird. I think that's 8 or 9 trips in a row I did not get a bite again on a jig or a slow-moving bait. Everything's on moving shad-type baits. Weird. There's that little section of docks where I was getting bit. I went back through it immediately after I missed some fish and worked it out again with a different bait and had another real good fish chase the jerk bait back. I just a dandy. You know, that between the eyeballs. So I went back in an hour or so later with my jig rod, little 1/4 ounce jig, not necessarily a finesse jig, but it's only a couple foot of water. And I worked that out with that jig and never got bit. Those keepers are there, and they won't bite that jig. Practicing for this thing Monday, I picked up spinning rod with a finesse worm and a shaky head, which, dadgum, you shouldn't have to do that this time of the year, but I'm trying to be versatile. I caught one little bass in a half hour, 9 foot of water in front of a dock, just out. What the heck? That's the only slow-moving bait bite I've had, and I didn't do it very long. I probably should have. I did it in some good spots, though. And they're going to be in the boat again. The only thing I've ever done that kind of thing this time of year before it gets cold is a tube. And you skip underneath docks and let it spiral down. That's a Guido Hibden technique from way back in the day. And generally, it's when the fish are biting pretty good. It's a way to get to them. Catch fish most people ain't a-catching. That's all I got. We'll work on some tackle, meditate, try to relax this knee and my back, and it's going to be a gorgeous day. Wind's going to blow like crazy. It's deer season. No way I'm going to try deer hunt with this leg. I don't think. Deer hunters going by right now, side by side, putting around. Beautiful day, I tell you that. Guys, if you all that watch this stuff, I really appreciate it. I'm just trying to share my thoughts on what my thought processes are. Going into Tuesday, probably not going to fish before then. Gonna spend the day Monday resting. I probably have to after being at work all weekend. Crankbaits, jerkbaits, top waters. No spinnerbait thing has happened. Threw a spinnerbait quite a bit Monday. I don't think I threw one at all Tuesday. A lot of me thinking. See, you got to think. The water is low and clear. I fished the dirtiest water in the area that I could fish, and I can still see 2.5 foot deep, 3 foot deep. That's stained, but it ain't dirty. But when the fish are up and biting, they'll hit that spinnerbait anyway. They ain't up and biting yet. I have 2 spinnerbaits in that box. They're set up. They're already ready to go. They'll be throwed maybe Tuesday. You about have to, because you got to keep changing. You can't just assume because it didn't work last week, it won't work this week. The buzzbait, top water bait, The jerk bait caught that 5-pounder and caught some shorts, and of course white bass just love it. It's jerk bait season. It's a different kind of jerk bait fish and winter jerk baits, but we're not fishing winter stuff. We're not worried about suspending. I don't want to suspend. I want that bait to bounce. Different side jerk baits, different colors, experimenting. So the finesse things, they're in there. I'm gonna set up another finesse rod here. I've 8-pound line on a casting rod because I don't like spinning tackle. I'm gonna do that right now. Spool up some 8-pound line on another rod. To me, that's finesse. Not planning on throwing it back to post cold front. Now that I know where there's some fish are at, I can kind of go in and work them out a little bit. That's the thing. It's been hard to process a situation. I haven't been in any fish that I know were there to work them through. Now I got a little area that's kind of worked, and it'll probably change, except it really should change for the better. That's all I got. Man, ain't this boring? God bless you guys. We'll talk to you later.